What do you make of his interview? It sounds like he's really bitter because he goes on to say he's concerned about the close association between Trump and Elon Musk and big tech. He's worried about Trump dictating.
He's at the bottom of the barrel here. He's scraping for some kind of legacy. He's trying to stay relevant as he goes into his next chapter of life after the Democratic Party, kicked him out after saying, he was the one lying to the American people about his cognitive state for so long. And if he wants to talk about democracy, as you just laid out, he needs to look in the mirror. He needs to have a conversation, as they say, with the Democratic Party. I mean, when you look at the people who are maybe left-leaning, but not, they're political and they vote and they pay attention to politics, especially in presidential elections, but they're Democrats. Even they were saying they didn't like this idea that they just kicked Joe Biden off the campaign trail. There was this weird letter posted on X that was really never explained about how that came about after the president insisted for weeks he wasn't going to leave his campaign and was running for a second term. And then they decided, the party, like Barack Obama and Nancy Pelosi, that they were just going to install the vice president who had never won a primary. Got kicked out of the first time she ran for president before she even went to the first votes in Iowa. And she was going to be the one who they demanded everybody vote for. And people, even left-leaning voters, were saying, this is not democratic. We've been hearing for months that Trump's the threat to democracy. And there was a huge red flag and flashing lights in June last year ahead of the election because a poll came out right before the debate with Joe Biden and Donald Trump, which ended Biden's campaign, that said that Trump was the one who was actually trusted on the issue of democracy. And they continue to run with this narrative. And now you have Joe Biden complaining about big tech. Okay, well, he didn't complain about them when he used them to win in 2020, when he was happy with using the censorship regime to violate the civil liberties of Americans by using the force of government to take down factual posts on Twitter. He was happy that they did it when it came to the Hunter Biden laptop, right, which not only indicted Hunter, but indicted the entire Biden family. So he's really stretching here, and he's looking for something to take him to his next chapter in his political life.
Yeah, I mean, you had the Hollywood, you had George Clooney, you had the Obamas, you had Nancy Pelosi trying to choose the candidate. So that op-ed is correct. It was the elites that are trying to choose the Democratic nominee. Whereas in the Republican Party, it was a big movement of the voters, of working class voters who said, this is our guy. And he won by a landslide. So what happened? Why do you think America woke up and saw Donald Trump as the better candidate than Kamala Harris?
Well, first, I would say, Democrats have been doing this for almost 10 years. They did this with Hillary Clinton in that primary. They made sure that Bernie Sanders had no chance of winning. They rigged their primary for her. So the elites in the Democratic Party have been screaming about democracy while not having any kind of actual debate. I mean, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. wanted to run against Joe Biden. They sued him to keep him off a number of ballots. That's not democratic. But when it comes to people waking up, it was an easy comparison between Trump's first 4 years and Joe Biden's last 4 years. And it goes back to the old Ronald Reagan saying, are you better off today than you were 4 years ago? And the Biden administration and the Biden policy has been so detrimental to Americans and harmful, both domestically and in terms of foreign policy, that people just said, I don't like what's been happening the last 4 years. Trump was great. And I was lied to by the media. I was lied to about everything that's happening. And my experience under his administration speaks for itself.
Katie, thank you so much.
Great to see you. See you in D.C.